this video is how to create surface differences and transitions on your relief sculpture. This is an example of a completed relief sculpture. It's obviously a sunflower, and this student did a beautiful, beautiful job transitioning from texture to texture. So you see, she has all the different levels of relief. The levels of relief are accurate, and she's got 2 levels of petals here, and you can see a clear transition between the texture from the center of the flower and the leaves. And you can see a clear transition from leaf to leaf. Okay? So this demonstration is going to be how to accomplish that. Okay? This is just coincidental that this happens to be also flowers. This is a very interesting photo of a flower that was taken by a student. And there's depth here and transition, although it's somewhat hard to see. But we know that this is one kind of leaf, and this is a flower, and that this flower is higher than this leaf. And she's got those transitions there, but they're a little bit kind of mushy. You want to have clear transitions. Part of the reason is because of glazing. So when you're overlapping one flower petal with another, you really want to, or one texture with another, you really want to show that difference in surface. So the glaze, like for instance, she has a background on her tile here, so the glaze doesn't run from the leaf to the background and kind of all become the same color. You want to show clear transitions. So how do we do that? What she wants to do is tuck one leaf underneath another. So you have to decide where the planes in your sculpture are actually going to change. So by the look in this, looks like it could be this way. This way? It's like awesome. Okay. So I had the student come up and just kind of show me. So I'm going to do one leaf, and I'm cutting away an edge of the leaf. So whenever there's something like multiple leaves on one sculpture, it's great because I'm actually able to use one part of this as a teaching tool, and then the student can watch the technique and replicate it with the others. And the center is going to be sort of like deep here. So we're actually separating edge to edge. And I'm just using a fettling knife for this. And then clear transition between background and foreground. What I'm doing is holding my fettling knife parallel to the tabletop. That way I'm cutting a flat edge, which she could still add texture to if she wanted to. And she also could decide if she wanted this edge square, or she could make it organic looking. It's up to her. But I made a line here, and then what I need to do is decide what is going to be taller, this leaf or this leaf. and make one kind of tuck underneath another. So the leaf that I'm completing is going to be sort of tucked underneath the other leaf. So it's going to emerge from the bottom of this other leaf. Perfect. Next thing I want to think about is edge. This edge is pretty thick, so I'm going to show you a way to thin that down and make it look like the thickness of a leaf. You're going to create the illusion of the thickness of the leaf by using a X-Acto blade, keeping the relief sculpture on a board, and cutting down that outside edge that looks something like this. Notice I'm just cutting the outside edge. I'm not cutting off the support. This would be the same application if you're doing flower petals, leaves, butterfly wings. And then you want to compress that edge of clay. This adds a delicacy to the leaf. I'm running my middle finger along the top surface of the clay. Then when I do cut the top surface, I run my middle finger along the bottom surface of the clay. This isn't easy, but what I'd really like you to do is have the experience of really experimenting and pushing your use of texture, relief, and starting to learn how to create that illusion of what you're trying to create in clay. Now, this student did a perfect job at creating the foundation for this sculpture. If she had started out with areas being any thinner, then the clay wouldn't have had a chance to set up. And so she actually did a perfect job at creating that foundation. So she's right where she should be, on track to success for this sculpture. So in other words, everybody's going to have a sculpture that looks kind of mushy in the beginning without transition. If your sculpture looks like that, you're at the right spot, considering we've got, it feels like more than 2 days left on this project. Right, there we go. Now, I don't know how thin this stem is, but I have a feeling it's probably thinner in real life than how it looks. Feel free to take an X-Acto blade and carve underneath. I would not recommend handling the stem with your fingers once it's carved. I know that might seem odd because, you know, it's clay and we handle clay, but this is going to become incredibly sensitive and delicate. So just like that. And then before you move any forward and make this thinner, you want to settle on what you're going to do for the petals. So, supporting the petal from underneath, you know what? Let's just play with texture here. What happens when we use the handle to press it down? And because I'm applying a certain amount of pressure here, I would actually suggest that the artist who created this tile not trim down the stem, because I am creating quite a bit of pressure, until after the petals are formed. Because the petals in the photo do sort of look round, I don't know, to me. And then she can cut out the negative space. And, you know, artistic license is a wonderful thing. She could even make each flower a little different if she wanted. So, it's really up to you. But that's how to create transitions and the illusion of thinness on a thick tile.